طيب, let's go ahead and begin, inshallah ta'ala. In our last class, we were speaking about the issues of هل للصيغة أو هل للأمر صيغة, and we concluded that وَلِلَّهِ الْحَمْدِ وَالْمِنَّةِ. And we spoke about how the Asha'ira, they do not actually believe in their field, kalam jameel, that the amr has a sigha. And we discussed what's the point, why did the Asha'ira say mention that and go that route with this issue. So I think that was suffice. So we'll move right now on to باب ما يقتضي الأمر من الإيجاب. Now, the basic rule that we have is that الأمر للوجوب. الأمر للوجوب. What does this mean? He says إذا تجردت صيغة الأمر, صيغة الأمر اقتضت الوجوب. تجردت means that it's only giving me صيغة أمر. Only giving me what? صيغة أمر. اسجدوا لآدم. اسجدوا لآدم. Right? That's it. Did it say anything else? Is there any other commands? The story, literally, we know it 100%. Right? And there's just no way in the world to say other than it meant you need to obey that command. Tamam? And that's our evidence. That's our evidence that al-amru إذا اختلى عن القرينة وتجرد, it's alone, then we say it means واجب. Tamam? He says ثم اختلف هؤلاء. Our ashab, they differed. What did they say? What's wrong with them? He said فمنهم من قال يقتضي الوجوب بوضع اللغة. That some of them said, of our ashab, that the reason why we understand that this command is wajib is a linguistical deduction that we have made. That the language itself supports this claim. Tamam? He says, وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ قَالْ يَقْتَضِي الْوُجُوبُ بِالشَّرْعِ. Others, from our ashab, they said, no, it's the sharia that made this indication. Kalam jameel. Why? Because if an Arab tells his son, do this, that's all he says, then it is understood that there's no choice. Rather, the child may be punished for not obeying. Tamam? So that's your linguistical approach. Well, what is the Shar'i approach? Like the verse, اسجدوا لآدم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is punishing him for not following what? One command. Usjudu. This is an indication, my dear brothers, that the assumption, the understood fact from the command usjudu was that it was amr. Because if it wasn't, then there's no right to punish, right? But that'll be from Shar'. He says, وَمِنْ أَصْحَابِنَا مَنْ قَالْ يَقْتَضِي الندب. This opinion actually comes from the Mu'tazila. And their argument goes as follows. يقتدي الأمر المجرد الندب إلا إن جاء الدليل على إيجابه. What does this mean in English? That if a command comes, our initial approach, our initial understanding is that it's sunnah. It's a recommendation, not an obligation. Unless additional evidence is given. But it's interesting how the Mu'tazila word it, because the Mu'tazila would say in the issue of Isjudu li Adam, this is how they'll say. They'll say, no, Allah gathered all the angels, right? Had Adam standing there. Adam tell them the names of the things. Now, all of you Isjudu, right? They will actually call that scenario itself an additional evidence. That would be an indication that this was a command that cannot be broken, not a recommendation, because of the setting. And I want you to bear in mind with this, because everyone agrees to this concept. Be it from Ahl Sunnah or the Mu'tazila or the Wahhabiyya or what have you. Everyone agrees that the setting itself also has an impact to the scenario. So that scenario of the setting within the story might allude to, or considered at least, additional evidence. Hopefully this is clear, because a lot of times we'll be reading things and we'll see this, the ulama mention a hadith and you scratch your head like, I have no idea how he's getting what he's claiming from that statement. Well, it's because of the setting. He's looking at the setting and taking that as an independent fact as well. Oh, this is a very good point. Very good point. Ahsanullah ilaykum. Perfect. Well, let me finish this bab right here and we'll do it together bi'idhnillah. Mumtaz. So our dear brother Nicholas is saying that in our last time, because I had to cut it short and I left, and he's reminding me that we were going to take a lihya, the beard, for the Shafi'iyya as a case study. Thank you so much for reminding me. Yes, this, and it goes right back to this. We'll finish this segment right here, and we'll go ahead and we'll cover that bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Okay, mumtaz, ahsantum. So, back to what I was saying. So, the setting itself would be looked at as a factor to the understanding or how you will treat the command itself, as in whether it's wajib or it's sunnah. He says, وقالت بعض الأشعرية لا يقتضي الوجوب ولا غيره إلا بدليل. But as we said before, the dalil for the Ash'ari to begin with, and when he says بعض الأشعرية, it just means some of the theologians of Ahl Sunnah. Okay, now, but keep in mind, they do not need sighat amr to claim something is an amr or not. So they'll be more lenient to what they would accept as a dalil to support wujub. Okay? He says, وقالت المعتزلة الأمر يقتضي إرادة الفعل. A command is an indication that something needs to be done. He says, فَإِنْ كَانَ ذَلِكَ مِنْ حَكِيمٍ اقْتَدَتِ النَّدْبِ. If such a command comes from the all-wise, then this would be a recommendation. And see, the Mu'tazila use the word nadb, not mustahab. So I think that what they're trying to say is that if it's coming from the source of wisdom, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then indeed it's the highest levels of recommendation. وإن كان من غيره لم يقتد أكثر من الإرادة. But if it was from someone else, then all we can understand from it is a want to do something. Of course, we could easily respond to them and be like, well, good luck saying that to your boss at work. Who might be actually, in most cases, dumber than you, and they tell you to do something and you have to do it. So I would love to see how that would work out for them, right? He says, وَالدَّلِيلُ على أنها تقتضي الوجوب قوله صلى الله عليه وسلم لولا أن أشق على أمتي لأمرتهم بالسواك. Stop right there. Hold on for a moment. Look at what he's saying. If it wasn't for the fact that I do not want hardship to fall upon you, I would have done what? Ordered you to use the siwak with every prayer. Well, hold on for a moment. So this means that if he gives us a command, he's laboring us, right? He's telling us to do something, and we need to do it. Why? Because he himself has just stated that if he orders us, we would have to do it, whether we like it or not. So to avoid hardship from this, he has not ordered us to do this. That means that he himself believes that his command, right, to us is to be taken as wajib. Right there. تمام? He says فدل على أنه لو أمر لوجب ولو شق. And it's so beautiful that he says ولو شق. Who can tell me what is the significance of those two words, ولو شق, from someone like Shirazi? And here's a side note, a hint. There's theology involved with that. With those two words alone, I can prove the creed of a Shirazi. That he's 100% Ash'ari. Okay, it seems like our brothers are still thinking. So for the for the timing, so we don't ponder on here too long. The Ash'ari, when they were refuting the Mu'tazila, who were saying that Allah can only do that which is beneficial for his creation, whatever that means. Sometimes you have to wonder, like how do these people sleep at night? Because their words make no sense. But so when the Ash'ari were refuting them, they said that's not necessarily true. As a matter of fact, he could even command them with that which they cannot do. The mashaqqa is too great upon them to actually do. He could still command them to do it. Now, we don't believe that this has happened, but we believe that if he so wanted to, he could. Because remember, we're only ordered to fulfill that which we can to the best of our ability, right? I mean, that's your basic premise in the Sharia. إِذَا أَمَرْتُكُمْ بِأَمْرٍ فَأْتُوا مِنْهُ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. Say you can't do ruku' and you can't do sujood, but you can stand. Then you're going to stand. Say you can do ruku' and sujood, but you can't stand. Fine. Be on your knees. Sit in a certain way, but you'll have to do your ruku' and sujood completely. Why? فَأْتُوا مِنْهُ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. That's your general command. So therefore, Ahl Sunnah said, well, let me rephrase that. Half of Ahl Sunnah said, because the Maturidi don't agree on this approach, that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to order us something that has hardship, He can. There's no issue there, right? There's no problem there. Because we get rewarded based upon the best of our ability. Tamam? So by him saying walau shaqqa, that's literally Allah enough to point out that he is Ash'ari. Kalam Jameel. He says, وَلِأَنَّ السَّيِّدَ مِنَ الْعَرَبِ إِذَا قَالَ لِعَبْدِهِ إِسْقِنِي مَا, right? If he tells his slave, give me some water, and he doesn't, then he deserves punishment, or at least some form of warning, right, for his disobedience. He says, فَلَوْ لَمْ يَقْتَدِ الْوُجُوبِ لِمَا اسْتَحَقَّ الذَّمَّ عَلَيْهِ. If it did not, then there would be no need for punishment. Kalam Jameel. Now let's go to the lihya issue, because this is one of those odd scenarios. And what I'm going to do, let me open up Shamila real quick, because I'm going to share my screen. Yeah. Okay, now you come over here. Sorry, I have two monitors, so I have to move things out of the way, and I'm always researching, so I always have things open to the max. Mumtaz. Now, where did that go? Here we go. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and share that. Okay, so you should see a Shamila right now. Let me just open up the chat box just in case anyone says anything. We'll keep this right here. Oh, let's put it right here for now. That's good. Okay, so the lihya, we'll go this way and we'll go that way, and let's actually start with al-lihya. Okay, so here's the issue with al-lihya. When the ahadith and the athar were observed of al-lihya, we saw that they were with sunan al-fitra. And sunan al-fitra are a mix between acts that need to be done and acts that are recommended to be done. Now, if the beard was mentioned separately, this would give an indication that it's more than just sunan al-fitra, and it was. However, when it was mentioned separately, it was mentioned along with the mustache, thus giving us an understanding that even though it's mentioned separately, it's sunnah, because no one ever said that trimming the mustache is fard. Rather, that's sunnah. So why separate it from sunan al-fitra? Okay, to give it importance. All right, perfect. But then when it comes along with the mustache. Well, you can't say half of the sentence is sunnah and the other half is fard. Kalam Jameel. Now, many of our ashab, well, not many really, it was really Ibn al-Rif'ah, who said that al-Halimi said, that al-Qaffal said, that Imam al-Shafi'i said, it's haram. So, let's backtrack and see where this is exactly. Mainly up here, he doesn't really, at the beginning of the book, he doesn't really speak about removal of any beard. Kalam Jameel. So it really starts to show up. I think it's right here. Yep. This is your first area, your first spot that it's very out of the ordinary. Okay. He says, "Walhalqu." Here, I mean, what do I do? No, just come right here like that, and we'll do that. Okay. And we'll do this carefully, right? وَالْحَلْقُ أَحَبُّ إِلَيْ, because he just said before that either you shave or you trim your hair. And he's saying that al-halq, shaving your head, is best. This is in Hajj, right? It's preferable to me from my observation, basically, of the evidence. He says, and now if the person is bald, like myself, right, and he has no hair on his head, or he's already shaven his head before maybe he came to Hajj, then he would still run the razor over his head. He says, and I also see it, or I also recommend that they take a little bit from their beard and mustache, okay, so that way he's removing hair for Allah's sake. If he does not, then there's no big issue, because the original commands came about that which is on the head, not the beard. So they came and said, see, he said that the nusuk, it's in the head, not in the beard. That doesn't really help with anything, because here it's not him saying that you can't take your beard. He's saying this right after he said, take from your beard. So if Al-Qafal was speaking about this, which some contemporaries claim, that doesn't help them. Okay, now move on to this next segment right here. No, I don't think he actually, no, he doesn't mention anything there. He says right here, he's speaking about skin damage and compensation and things like that. He says if basically someone removes the hair, or removes some of the hair, not the hair of the head or the lihya from the man, or it is from surrounding areas of the lihya, right, around the throat, and that a person removes that off of another person and they do not come back, that hair does not come back, then there's compensation required for them. Again, doesn't really help them. I think this is the next one. Yep. So, am I missing something? Let me see. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Yep. The chat box was over this segment right here. Where is it? Where's the beginning? Oh, okay. If a man cuts someone's hair, right, and the hair doesn't come back, and that's in the previous segment or up here, then he speaks about like if there's any compensation for that. Then he says if they do cut someone's hair and that which comes back is different but better, then there's no crime, because, well, the barber didn't really do anything wrong. Okay, he says because that's what the barber's job is. Yeah, that's what he's supposed to do. And he calls it nusuk because the most frequent time Muslims in the old days would actually get their hair cut by an actual barbershop, right, would be when they're in Hajj. It's quicker, it's easier, right? Well, normally people do it for themselves back then. Today, I know things have changed a little bit, but that's why he's mentioning the nusuk. So he's saying that the nusuk are in the head because you're utilizing right now the assumption of what you're in Hajj and you sit down at the barbershop to cut your hair. So that's what he's referring to right here. And he says because that's his job, because removal of the hair of the head, that's part of Hajj, right? He says, and there's no pain that comes along with it. Tamam? He says, and that, the barber removing hair, if it was in the beard, if he was removed hair from the beard, right, then that is not allowed. Kalam Jamil. He says, however, there's not a lot of pain associated with it, and if the hair does not go away, meaning that it usually will come back out, but if it comes back out and there's something wrong with it, then we can argue that there's a compensation needed. Okay. And what he means by this is that if the person sits at the barbershop and he just sits down, they don't communicate. Okay. Then the barber, after removing the head of the hair, starts taking from the beard, and the man didn't want that. This is where the issue would be, because, well, you should have known that the nusuk is in the head only, not the beard. Why are you taking from the beard without any actual discussion of that? Tamam? So when he says, وَإِنْ كَانَ فِي اللِّحْيَةِ لَا يَجُوز, they said, well, see, لَا يَجُوز. Why لَا يَجُوز? Okay, Shafi'i is not telling you why. This is more than likely what Al-Qaffal was assuming. But why did he say لا يجوز? It's لا يجوز because the men didn't tell him that. He sat down, and traditionally, when you go to a barbershop after Hajj, right, it's to remove the head of your head, not your lihya. So if they don't communicate, well, then why is he taking from the beard? There's only one reason that person is coming there, and that's for the nusuk. Okay? But if you look at the following page, look, this is page 88, page 89, look what he says. He says, لِأَنَّ اللِّحْيَةَ, and actually, this actual segment begins a little bit earlier. Where's the rest of it? Here we go. Here we go, right here, because it starts from right there. And this realistically shows you exactly what Imam Shafi'i was trying to say. He says, and what I have said here in regards to hukuma, which means compensation, right? And I gave some things greater than other things. And I said that body hair, if it does not come, that it doesn't grow back, if someone removed it for someone else, then there's a compensation. And I made it lesser in status than the compensation for the hair on the head and the beard, if the hair does not come back. Because, see, he's telling you why. Watch this, because this will change the entire claim that people have made today. Because the impact that this has on the man's status, on his body, is a lot less than what it would do if it's his hair and beard. And hair from the body might not come back, and it doesn't impact the person and who he is and his image. What's on the body has no impact. Kalam Jamil. Then he continues mentioning a couple other little scenarios. Then he says, and the beard is what makes the image of a man perfect. It gives him perfection. As opposed to a woman, her having a beard is not a sign of perfection. It's a sign of, well, that impacts her negatively, basically. Okay? You see that? Imam Shafi'i, what was he saying? He was saying that this impacts the status of the individual. Kalam Jamil. Naam. That's what Imam Shafi'i has said. Now, if we go elsewhere within the school, and we'll do this. We'll say lihya, and we'll also say halq. And let me eliminate al. This is al-hawi. Okay, so look right here. So this is al-hawi, and al-hawi is explaining Mukhtasar al-Muzani. And Mukhtasar al-Muzani, he quotes some of the statements of Imam Shafi'i from al. Anyway, he's saying, okay, so if you don't have hair, you run the blade over your head, and that would be suffice. Kalam Jamil. Then he says, and it's sunnah or yustahabbu, taking some of the beard and the mustache, and it's not wajib, okay? Like someone that has their hand or arm completely removed, we'll still tell him it's sunnah to wet whatever's left from his arm a little bit, even though it's not wajib. He says, and Ibn Dawood, meaning al-Zahiri, he said that this is not allowed because of the command of growing your beard and having your beard. He says, but we can respond to him that Ibn Umar used to take from his beard from its length and its width. So right there you have Al-Mawardi affirming taking from the beard. Okay. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Right here, this is Al-Qadi Hussein, but he's talking about that it is recommended for the woman, not the man, to shave and even pluck out any facial hairs in the beard area. Okay. So she doesn't look like a man. Imam al-Haramain, when he speaks of it, no, actually, I don't think he does. Ruyani, realistically, he's just mentioning. It's more of an abridgment of Imam al-Mawardi's Al-Hawi, and here he says, and it is like to take some of the beard and the mustache. If he doesn't do it, that's okay, because the nusuk is originally in the head, not the face, not the beard. And our ashab said, we're taking like if someone doesn't have an arm, etc. Okay, women don't have to go and remove anything when she does nusuk. All right, we get to Al-Imrani, and he says, and in the lihya there's diya, basically monetary compensation for the beard not coming back out. Tamam. We go to Al-Imam Al-Rafi'i. I think where does he mention it? No, not there. I think he actually does it in. Maybe I'm just missing it right now. That's not him. Let's see what Al-Imam Al-Nawawi has to say. Imam Al-Nawawi says, we mentioned the hadith of keeping the beard, and it's from the fitrah. And the word Al-I'fa is with mad. And Al-Khattabi says, and it means to let it grow, leave it, don't cut it like the non-Arabs do. He said, meaning Al-Khattabi, that Kisra would trim, and also they could use this word for shaving, so it's not really clear, that they used to remove basically from the beard, or take from the beard and leave their mustaches to grow long. He says, Al-Ghazali mentioned Ihya that the Salaf, they differed on the issue of the beard, and it was said that you can take that which goes beyond a fist hold of it, okay, and that Ibn Umar did it, and Al-Sha'bi did it, and Ibn Sirin did it, and Al-Hasan al-Basri and Qatada ibn Du'am al-Sadusi, they said this is makruh because the Prophet ﷺ said leave it, okay. And Imam al-Ghazali said, it's not that much of a big of a difference, because overall, if it gets too big where the person looks bad, they should remove from it and make it look nicer. And now he says, and the sahih is that it's makruh to take anything from it. Right? You should just leave it as is because of the sahih ahadith on this matter. But again, he says what? Karaha. He says, as-sahih al-karaha, or sahih karahat al-aghd. That means it's what? It's makruh. He says, as for the hadith that some have narrated from Amr ibn Shu'ayb, from his father, from his grandfather, that the Prophet ﷺ used to trim from his mustache, from his beard, from its length and its width, it's weak, and it cannot be used here, as opposed to that which is narrated by Ibn Umar, that is authentic. And he says something on the following page. He says, Al-Ghazali said that it is makruh to allow the beard to grow out of proportion, or you look bad by it, you do not look decent by it, and it is makruh to take so much of it. Kalam Jameel. And he says, Al-Ghazali said that allowing the sideburns to grow bigger than other parts of it and stuff like that is also makruh, probably similar to what the Jews do and things like that. He says, Abu Talib al-Makki mentioned, and Al-Ghazali mentioned, that with the lihya, there are 10 things that are makruh, and he mentions it, and from it, does he mention taking it? Here you have plucking the white ones, running the blade over a face that doesn't have any hair to make it or to irritate it in order for it to start growing hair and things like that. All of that is disliked. Bleaching it and stuff like that would also be considered makruh. Leaving it without brushing it and combing it, making it look nice, is also makruh. I think that's all that he mentions there. No, right here he says the nusuk in Hajj has to do with the hair on the head. If you only were to take some of your beard, that's not going to be suffice. I guess we could argue that he's presenting it as the niyyah. If you say the niyyah only verbally, not in your heart, that's not going to count. That's not Imam al-Nawawi. Now that's those are the ones that helped complete it. Let me see if there's anything else here. حلق جميع الرأس لا بأس. Shaving the entire head is okay. He mentions that. Let me see if there's anything behind there. Nope, not. It's sunnah to brush it. It's makruh to pluck out gray hairs. And then he goes on to mention the 10 things that he just mentioned, that he mentioned also in Al-Majmu'. If we get to Kifayat al-Nabi, this is by Ibn al-Rif'ah. Here he says, Al-Qadi Abu Tayyib al-Hussein said, it's better for a woman to shave her beard so she doesn't look like men. No, let me see, because this is the book where he actually mentions that Imam Shafi'i said that it would be haram to remove it. We just need to find it real quick. No, it's just about washing. Same thing right here. No, not there. Ajib. I don't know why it's not coming up like it should. Labas. He should mention it here. Let me see. No, he's just speaking about the aqiqah there. Labas. I think he mentions it here. This is it. No, that's the Damiri. He should be right here, if I'm not mistaken. No. Come on, where is it? Subhanallah. Dahn shar. No. Tanawul al-ma'i. Am I losing my eyesight or something? Because I know that Al-Wali al-Iraqi, he quoted it. Maybe it's before here. No. Subhanallah. I know, I should just gather all these things into one file. Be easy. Here's Aslan al-Matalib by Shaykh al-Islam. It is makruh to pluck the beard, right? When it plucking and shaving and stuff like that, when the beard first starts to come out, because people would do that to make the beard grow quicker. Okay, so anyway, he mentions that it is makruh to remove it. Says fist grabbing, basically same exact thing, and then he quotes Ibn Sirin and Shabi and Hasan al-Qatada like the others did as well. Okay, here we go. So he says ويكره نتفها, plucking the beard hairs. He says, meaning the lihya. He says this is a Ramli al-Kabir, so Ramli the father. He says, and shaving it basically would be what makruh as well. He says, so what al-Halimi said in his Minhaj, that it is not allowed for anyone to shave his beard or his eyebrows, this is weak. See if he say anything else to that. No, he does not. Okay. And then well, right here we just come now to our scholars that we study their books. They're all going to mention makruh, except for one actually, and that's in Fath al-Mu'in. Okay, in Fath al-Mu'in, look what he wrote. He said, وَيَحْرُمُ حَلْقُ لِحْيَةٍ, which is odd since Ibn Hajar never said that, and he's the student of Ibn Hajar. So Ad-Dumyati in his I'anat al-Talibin, he says, where he said يحرم حلق اللحية, he says the mu'tamad according to Al-Ghazali, Shaykh al-Islam, Ibn Hajar, Al-Ramli, Al-Khatib, and others, that it is makruh. He says, and in a tuhfa, his wording is as follows. They mention that from the things that are makruh with the beard is to pluck it and shave it. Ibn Hajar also said that we can't necessarily say that what Al-Halimi said opposes the karaha, because you could still say la yajuz and you just mean makruh. Okay, and that was the statement of Ibn Hajar. Okay, he says, or we could argue that their opinion is just simply not the mu'tamad. He says, and Ibn Umar, he used to take from his beard from the sides and the length. He says, now as far as what's in the Sahihain that order us to keep the lihya and not take anything from it, no doubt that is stronger, but does that mean you can't take from it ever? That would be difficult. Why? He says, because because this right here, that they've all agreed, all of the fuqaha for the most part, except for a very small minority, said that if it gets out of control, where it does not look decent on a person anymore, then they should take from it and trim it and make it look good, along with what Ibn Umar used to do. Okay, then you can see that this is more of a nadb, kalam jameel. And the majority of the wording of the earlier scholars was, it's as if they're just trying to point out a general karaha. Kalam jameel. Naam. And then he says, and Ibn Qasim al-Abbadi, he said, the mu'tamad, kalam jameel, or the opinion of that it's haram. Ibn Hajar in Sharh al-Ubab, right, by Muzajjad, he said that the opinion of that it is haram, that is not the mu'tamad, that's the opposite of the mu'tamad. Then he says, fa'idah. The Shaykhin, Al-Rafi' al-Nawawi, said it's makruh to shave the beard. And Ibn al-Rif'a objected in the Hashia of Al-Kafiyah. I don't know why I thought it was Al-Kifayah. That Al-Imam al-Shafi'i said in Al-Umm that it is haram. As we saw, that's not what Imam al-Shafi'i said. Al-Zarkashi said, and Al-Halimi mentions this in Shu'ab al-Iman. And we're going to pull that up right now and look at it. He says, and also his teacher, Al-Qaffal, in Mahasin al-Shari'ah. And Al-Adhra'i said, and this is very interesting from Al-Adhra'i, he said, what the correct understanding of it being haram, they're referring to what the Qalandariya used to do. The Qalandariya would shave their faces smooth. It was a Sufi order. I'm sorry, not Sufi. Like a Buddhist type of order, right? They were not Sufi, afwan. Okay, and they used to shave all their facial hair and the hair on their heads, basically everything except for their eyebrows and eyelashes. Okay, so Al-Adhra'i is saying the tahrim is referring to that. But even that, they said, well, where did you get that from? Because not one of them mentioned the Qalandariya. Unless you want to take this understanding that removal of it, completely shaving it, would be haram. But anything else would be makruh. And it seems that's where Al-Adhra'i was going. Even though the story that he's using, which is the Qalandariya, is it's hard to say that's exactly what was meant, because no one ever said that. Also, Qalandariya didn't show up that early on. I think they only showed up later on in history. So could it be that it's just his assumption? Allahu a'lam, it's possible. he says إذا علمت ذلك فلعله جرى على ما جرى عليه شيخي في شرع الباب وهو ضعيف لأنه إذا اختلف كلامه في كتبه فالمعتمد ما في التحفة. It depends on how you read what Ibn Hajar stated in Sharh al-Ubab. Sadly, it's not published yet. It's still manuscript. I have the manuscript, but if we were going to open it right now and go through it, that's going to take a very long time. If you look right here, this is Al-Bujayrami. Al-Bujayrami, he says that the Imam, according to Imam al-Shafi'i and a couple of the earlier Shafi'iyah, the Imam could not shave the beard of a person that's being punished. So in the old days, shaving the beard would be a way to humiliate an individual being punished. It seems that Imam al-Shafi'i was against that practice. Okay. However, our ashab throughout the ages shifted to accepting this as being an allowed method of punishment. Kalam Jamil. So if you look right here, Bujayram is even saying that Al-Azizi, it was his teacher, he said that if the hakim, if the ruler deems it beneficial as a punishment, so be it. So they had this change in how they were mentioning that rule. Kalam Jamil. See, look at this. Look, Al-Bujayrami says that Ibn Qasim, he said that shaving the beard as a form of punishment is not allowed even by the Imam. Kalam Jamil. But they didn't accept that from him. Kalam Jamil. He actually continues to quote and he says, no, that yani, you could do that. Wallahu a'lam. I think that's really everything. Let's see Al-Jamal real quick. If he has anything to add. So Al-Jamal, Kalam Jamil, he's one of the major scholars of the Egyptian segment of our school. He basically just quoting the same exact thing. Yeah, see, still stating the same exact thing. Kalam Jamil. Let's go ahead and do this. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Let's get, how are we going to do this? Let's do it like this. Al-Halimi. So we can see the actual words that Al-Halimi himself uses. Oh, okay, fine. I won't do it that way. We can do it this way. Minhaj. Because he has a book called Al-Minhaj fi Shu'ab al-Iman. And we'll, let's do it this way. And we'll just remove all books. Keep that. Remove that. Let's just go ahead and do it this way so we can get any formation of the term. All right. All right. Bismillah. No. Let's go this way. A kathifa. No. ما أقبل من اللحية. All right, he's not mentioning anything there. Let's go to the next one. No, that's wudu. No, it's ghusl. No. And I'm actually taking you through this because I haven't found it before in al-Minhaj. Oh, the exact wording that it was al-Qaffal. Here we go. أما حلق اللحية فهجنة وشهرة وتشبه بالنساء. كلام جميل. Look, ولهذا لا يحل لأحد أن يحلق لحيته أو حاجبيه. كلام جميل. But he's not quoting al-Qaffal. That's all he's saying. So what Ibn Hajar was arguing, that could you take this and say that he meant that's makruh? Some said, well, you can't say that because he said la yahil. it's not halal. Well, طيب يعني to what extent? What does he mean by لا يحل? كلام جميل. Could he have been يعني speaking generally, not exactly يعني following the terminology per se? It's possible. But if you يعني you have this one right here where he'll mention that Ibn Umar used to take from his beard, tamam, right? And he mentions Abu Hurairah used to take from his beard. Al Hasan, look, he even quotes Al Hasan saying it's okay, you can take some from it. Tawus said it's okay, you can take some from it. Ibrahim al-Nakhai would take some from his beard. Kalam Jamil. So look, he says, no, that's a sharib. So as you can see, he's saying in one page, you can't take from it. I'm sorry. In this segment right here, you can't take from it, right? It says it right there. You can't. But then as soon as he gets to Hajj, he says what? That you can take from it. Tamam? So right there, what you're seeing is you're seeing a change from his own position that he himself is presenting. Kalam Jamil. Naam. So he's even presenting those who did take from it. And again, he doesn't mention al-qafal. I don't think Mahasin al-Sharia is here. Let me see. I have the PDF. We can open that up. Yeah, it's not here. 1 second. Because I have the book. Bismillah. There's al-Muqna Muhamili Mahasin al-Sharia. Here we go. Okay, I don't think that is being shared. Now you should be able to see it. Okay, so there's a note for you right there. Look, I was reading through the book and I said that the editor he distorted the book in several locations. So FYI. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead to Hajj 138 and go around this area right here, inshallah ta'ala. Bismillah. Muhammad. And we're just trying to get the exact wording of al-Qaffal. Bismillah. And just for your notes, we're going through the chapter of Hajj from Mahasin al-Sharia by al-Qaffal. He's still speaking about the arkan of Hajj and the shurut within each rukn. So we're trying to get towards the end where he speaks about shaving the head. Inshallah ta'ala. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Bismillah. كلام جميل ويحرم أخذ الأظافر. So these are the muharramat. We'll just need to get to, there's al-hadi, so it should be coming up. No. And after we pull this one out, we're going to move on to the class of Al-Muqaddimah Al-Hadramiyya, inshaAllah ta'ala. And if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to put them into the Telegram group and we can go ahead and answer that, inshaAllah ta'ala. Now, all of this is still Al-Hadi. Okay, this is really not even referring to, subhanAllah, see? Maybe, is it possible that that's النحر, that's إخراج اللحم. Okay. تطوع, still هدي. No, still slaughtering. Okay. Juna, okay, yeah. Still hadi. These are muharramat, unless you put it here in the middle of the muharramat. It should be odd, but since muharramat, I mean, it has removal of hair, but Ajib. And I don't remember the exact page, sadly. Yeah, see, mamnu min halq ash-sha'r, you can't shave your head, right? Yeah. Ajib. Okay, so all this is still the muharramat. Maybe I overlooked it. And if you ever see something on the screen and I'm reading it backwards or something, tell me put my glasses on. Because I swear glasses, but I don't like glasses at all. Let me see. No, see, now he's already back at the tawaf and the sa'i. Ajib. Maybe he didn't have it in Hajj. Just take a look. Do we have Sunan al-Fitra? No. I can't remember exactly where he mentioned it. Could it be maybe in wudu? Shouldn't, but let's double check. I can't remember. If I don't find it right now here, we'll just go ahead and we'll stop here, inshallah, and then we'll pick up back in Luma, inshallah ta'ala, in our next class. Okay, these are nawaqid. Now he's moving on to ghusl. Yeah, we'll just go ahead, inshallah ta'ala. Well, let's check this one real quick. Best clothes for men is white. Okay. Just wanted to see if maybe he had here wearing a ring. There you go, see? Just wear a ring on your right hand. Here we go. ولا يجوز حلق اللحية لما فيه من التشويه ومعاني المثلة ويجوز حلق الرأس للرجال ولا يجوز للنساء لأن ذلك بمعنى المثلة فيه التشبيه بالرجال. But we also know that she can trim her hair and cut it down. So if we take both statements with our full understanding of the second one as it is, then he would be able to remove some of his facial hair as well. And if you look at it, he doesn't quote Shafi'i, he doesn't quote al or anything. And he said وَلَا يَجُوز. You can also still say وَلَا يَجُوز, right, on something that's makruh. Because I could say to you, it is لَا يَجُوز for you to waste water. Is that a correct statement? Yes, it is a correct statement. Then does this mean that I'm saying that it would be haram? No, they said it's makruh, right? So I could say that, right? Yeah. Kalam Jamil. Therefore, his statement wouldn't be suffice. And just for your notes, if you want to, it's page 239. Al-Qaffal Mahasin Al-Sharia. Kalam Jamil. As you can see, he doesn't mention He doesn't mention that he understood it from Imam Shafi'i. He doesn't mention anything like that. He just simply says that phrase. Now, if we take that phrase and we connect it back to what is in because remember, Al-Qaffal studied with Ibn Surayj, and Ibn Surayj studied with Al-Muzani, Al-Za'farani, and Al-Rabi'a. That means they took from Al Okay, what is in Al does not state in any way, shape, or form that it would be haram. So Al-Qaffal saying لا يجوز could still be for that which is makruh. Tamam? Hopefully that sheds some light on that topic and suffices all our wanting or need to review and discuss the issues of Halq al-Lihya and the Shafi'i school. We'll stop here, inshallah ta'ala. We'll pick up in our next class by continuing our discussion of al-amr and its impact on our ahkam, inshallah ta'ala. Does anybody have any final questions before we head out? Nicholas, if you tell your children that I didn't get the question. أعانكم الله. Inshallah ta'ala, I'll see everyone in our next class. وأقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله تعالى لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. لا بأس أخي الحبيب، الله يحفظكم.